Welcome to the deep dive. We take dense source material and, well, we make it make sense. Today, it's a really detailed one. The Didactic Guide for 5th-year primary school English in Algeria. Okay, so our mission here is to unpack this guide. It's for kids around 10 or 11, right at the end of primary school, getting ready for middle school English. We want to pull out the actionable knowledge, the core ideas about teaching English to young learners based on this specific blueprint.
Yeah, and what really jumps out is that this isn't just a list of words or grammar rules.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's deeply rooted in psychological theory. It's like a full operating manual for teachers, not just what to teach, but the how, and maybe most importantly, the why.
Right, they built the foundation first.
Exactly, based on child development theory, before they wrote lesson 1.
So that foundation is what we're digging into today. The academic thinking behind it, the specific learning strategies they design, classroom management tricks, and how they teach core skills without hitting kids over the head with grammar rules. Let's start right there at the bottom of the pyramid, the psychological stuff that drives everything else.
Okay, so when you're teaching 10-year-olds, you first have to understand, well, what they're capable of thinking about. The guide points straight to Jean Piaget.
Piaget, okay.
Specifically, his stages of cognitive development. These kids, they're smack in the middle of the concrete operational stage. Usually runs from about age 7 to 11.
Concrete operational sounds solid. What does that actually mean in, like, an English class?
It means their thinking is getting logical, more organized, but, and this is the key, only about things they can actually see or touch or experience directly. You know, concrete things.
Oh, okay.
They get conservation, pour water into a tall, skinny glass or a short, fat one.
Yeah.
Still the same amount of water. They understand that. But purely abstract ideas, hypothetical stuff, that's really tough for them.
So the guide says,
The guide insists. Use objects, use pictures, maps, visuals, real-world examples. Anchor the language in something tangible. Then moving on, you see a big influence from Lev Vygotsky, his social learning theory.
right, the social aspect.
Huge emphasis on interaction.
Yeah.
Learning is social. And central to that is the more knowledgeable other, the MKO. Could be the teacher, could be a peer.
MKO.
Yeah, someone who guides the learner within their zone of proximal development, the ZPD.
Okay, the ZPD. So if I'm that 10-year-old, the teacher's always looking for that one thing I can almost do and just gives me that little nudge to get there.
That's exactly it. Keeps it challenging, but not impossible. Now, think about how this links up. The guide uses Maslow and Erickson to sort of check the environment first before Piaget and Vygotsky check the lesson content.
How so?
Well, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the pyramid, right? Physiological, safety, social, esteem, self-actualization.
Yeah, the basics have to be covered.
Absolutely. The guide says flat out, if a kid doesn't feel safe or doesn't feel like they belong, forget about higher level learning. It just won't happen.
And you mentioned Erickson, too.
Erik Erikson. State 4, industry versus inferiority. That's this age group, about 5 to 12.
Industry versus inferiority.
Yeah.
So feeling capable.
Exactly. The core idea is the need to help kids find things they're good at, places where they can shine. Otherwise, if they just keep failing or feel ashamed,
They develop feelings of inferiority.
right, which totally undermines teaching. So you put it all together, you need concrete examples, Piaget, lots of
Awesome.
interaction, Vygotsky, in a really supportive environment where kids feel safe and successful, Maslow Erickson. It's holistic. Starts with the kid's feelings.
That's a really clear connection. Okay, so we have the why. Now, how does this translate into practice? Recognizing the specific year 5 kid, what's unique about this 10-year-old learner, according to the guide?
Well, they're dealing with a lot. They're less egocentric, sure, but new ideas still get filtered through, how does this relate to me? And physically, big changes are happening.
Which
Often means lots of movement, fidgeting, maybe talking more than the teacher wants. Seems disruptive, but it's developmental. And because abstract stuff is hard and attention spans can be short, the guide says you must use visuals constantly. Graphics, maps, slides, you name it.
And it mentions equity, too, which I thought was important.
Very. Treat all kids the same. Fairness is key. Doesn't matter if one kid had a bit of English at home and another didn't. Everyone gets the same supportive treatment.
This focus on individual needs flows right into learning styles, doesn't it? The guide talks about VAKT.
It does. VAKT. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile. 4 basic ways kids perceive and process information. And the guide wants teachers using strategies for all of them.
Okay, let's break VAKT down. Visual.
Visual learners need to see it, and the guide splits this, which is interesting. Visual verbal, they need words, written instructions, things to read, but visual nonverbal learners, they need the charts, diagrams, pictures, graphic organizers, visual representation.
Makes sense. And auditory, the listeners.
Yeah, they learn by hearing. So strategies involve talking, group work where they discuss things vocally, reading instructions out loud, listening to summaries, that kind of thing.
Okay, and the last two together, kinesthetic and tactile, the movers and touchers.
My favorites too. They learn by doing. Moving, touching things, manipulating objects. This is where the guide says, use role plays, simulations, build models, and definitely use group work that forces them to get up and move around.
Can you harness that fidgetiness?
Exactly. We know they move a lot anyway, so let's make that part of the learning, not something to fight against.
It's smart, and activities can hit multiple styles, right? Like flashcards.
Perfect example. Flashcards are visual, obviously, and tactile, you hold them. If the kids say the words on the cards out loud while looking at them,
Auditory and maybe even kinesthetic if they're moving them around.
you got it. It's about layering the strategies.
Okay, so if we're designing lessons this carefully, based on psychology and learning styles, it all falls apart without good classroom management.
Totally. The guide presents effective management as, like, non-negotiable. It's what turns potential chaos into a place where learning can actually happen.
So what are the key techniques the guide recommends for structure and control?
It actually starts before the lesson. With planning work, teachers are told, don't plan lesson by lesson, plan in sequences of lessons.
Sequences? Why?
Remember the concrete operational stage. Abstract connections are hard. Seeing how lessons link together over time, seeing the bigger image, provides structure they can grasp, makes the goals more concrete. Another big one, linking back to Vygotsky, is varying seating arrangements. They even cite research showing that changing things up using round tables, horseshoes, small groups, or pods isn't just cosmetic.
It actually affects learning.
Directly impacts learning,
Yeah.
and motivation, and how much kids participate. Breaks that static teacher-at-the-front model.
Which naturally leads to encouraging participation, I guess, if the setup is more flexible.
Participation has to follow. But participation means risk-taking, making mistakes. So the guide is really clear. Errors are okay. Errors are part of learning. That directly fights that inferiority complex we talked about.
And the teacher's position matters too.
Yeah, interesting point. The teacher should move away from the front sometimes. Circulate. Be a guide among the students, not just a lecturer from the stage. It encourages more kids to speak up.
Okay, that physically changes the dynamic. What about feedback? Is it just good job?
Oh, no, it's much more specific. Highly codified, actually. They pull from folks like Grant Wiggins and John Hattie. Effective feedback has to be three things.
Okay.
1, targeted and purposeful. 2, clear and meaningful. The kid has to know exactly what to do better next time. And 3, the timing has to be right. Sometimes immediate, like fixing pronunciation.
Yeah.
Sometimes delayed, like feedback on a writing task.
And they actually recommend a structure for giving it, the feedback sandwich.
That's the one. Compliment, then the specific correction, then another compliment. Think about Erickson's stage again. Industry versus inferiority. This sandwich method lets you correct the error without crushing the kid's confidence. You buffer the critique with positives. It's psychologically smart.
That's a great takeaway for almost any situation, really.
Yeah.
Okay, last piece of management, discipline. How do you keep order with 10-year-olds, especially if they need to move?
The guide's answer is brilliantly simple, in a way.
Yeah.
The best discipline tool. Really good lesson planning. Because idleness is the root of all evil. If the lesson is engaging, detailed, and keeps them busy, there's no time or reason for misbehavior. This connects to a concept from Kunin called with-itness.
With-itness. Sounds like something you'd want.
Definitely. It basically means having eyes in the back of your head. The teacher is constantly aware of everything happening in the room, not in a policing way.
Sensing the vibe.
Yeah, spotting that kid who's starting to drift off before they actually act out. It allows for subtle, proactive interventions, not reactive punishments.
Okay, so environment managed, mindset right. Now, the actual language skills. How does the guide apply all this theory to teaching, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and grammar?
Right. Let's get into the methodology. They start with listening. It's the priority receptive skill. You listen before you speak. Main challenges. Speed of natural speech, different accents, and just the continuous stream of sound.
Yeah, real speech doesn't have neat gaps between words.
Exactly. So how do you help? Solutions are concrete again. Use body language, gestures, maybe even puppets to give visual clues alongside the audio. Encourage kids to anticipate, think about what they might hear before they listen. And critically, allow more than one listening. Reduces stress, increases chances of success.
Makes sense. Okay, then speaking. Productive skill. Big hurdle here is often shyness, right? Fear of making mistakes.
Huge hurdle. Especially at this age, remember, industry versus inferiority, plus you get some kids who dominate conversations.
So the solutions.
Safety first. Create that atmosphere where mistakes are genuinely okay. Use pair work and group work, less pressure than speaking in front of everyone. And for quieter kids, the guide suggests a formal participation plan.
Like planned turns.
Yeah, so everyone knows they'll get a chance, maybe even win. It lowers anxiety and makes sure participation is more equitable.
All right, what about reading comprehension?
Focus is on the big five skills: phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension. But the main bottleneck for young learners is often just decoding, getting the words off the page.
How do they tackle that decoding barrier?
Very specifically, using repeated readings. They cite research from Samuels back in '79. Reading the same short text multiple times builds word recognition, speed, accuracy, automaticity. That frees up brain power for actual understanding.
Makes sense. Read it slow first, then faster, then understand it.
Pretty much. And they also advise chunking texts. Break longer passages into smaller, manageable pieces, phrases, sentences. Respect that shorter attention span, which they ballpark at maybe 2 to 3 minutes per year of age.
So 20, 30 minutes max focus for these kids. Okay. Lastly, writing.
Yeah, and they're clear. Year 5 is just the beginning for writing. The main goal is accuracy, the basic mechanics.
Like handwriting, punctuation.
Exactly. Legible writing, capitals, periods, basic spelling, simple word order, making sure subjects and verbs agree. They outline a path. First, writing for literacy, just forming letters, basic words. Then writing for reinforcement, copying sentences, simple dictation.
And actual communication, like writing a story.
That comes much later. The guide explicitly says primary learners don't really deal with writing for genuine communication yet. It's too abstract. Initially, writing is often framed as a cooperative activity done in pairs or groups.
Okay, which brings us to the big question. Grammar. We've established these kids struggle with abstract concepts. How on earth do you teach abstract grammar rules?
That's where it all comes together beautifully. The guide's answer, based on everything we've discussed, particularly Piaget, you don't teach grammar rules explicitly.
Sure.
No. You teach it implicitly. Grammar is learned best, the guide says, not through explanations or memorizing rules or learning terminology. It's learned by using the language, by playing games, singing songs, doing fun activities where the grammar patterns just emerge naturally.
Ah, so they absorb it through meaningful use, not abstract study.
Precisely. It's the ultimate application of that concrete operational understanding.
That's a really elegant synthesis of theory and practice. So just to recap the overall goals by the end of year 5, what should these kids be able to do?
The global goals are understand simple spoken English and interact orally in basic ways, decode or understand short, simple written texts, and actually produce a very short written message, maybe around 20 words or so.
And the content they use to get there?
It's all very focused on their world. 3 main themes or sequences: jobs, occupations, hobbies. Then hometown, things in town, giving directions. And finally, holidays and traveling. Practical, relatable stuff. But the real takeaway, I think, isn't just the topics. It's the sheer dedication to comprehensive pedagogy. Teachers aren't just teaching. They're assessing constantly against clear benchmarks. Is the student showing interest? Can they use capitals correctly? Is their intonation okay? It's very thorough.
It really is. We've traced how deep psychological theories, like Maslow's needs or Erikson's stages, directly inform very specific classroom tactics, like the feedback sandwich or varying seating charts, and concepts like Kunin's with itness for discipline. It's a fascinatingly integrated system.
It is. And maybe that leads to a final thought for you listening. This guide puts a massive emphasis on teaching kids how to find the answer. They call it learning to learn. It's valued more than just getting the right answer, which is more like traditional testing or what they call formative assessment here.
Focus on the process, not just the product.
Exactly. So think about your own learning, maybe professional development, maybe just a hobby. How much are you focused only on the final output, the right answer? And how much are you focused on understanding and improving the process that gets you there? Where might you be concentrating too much on just the answer instead of refining how you arrive at it?